I am Ariane, and this is Book Salad. November wrap-up, nonfiction November. Yes, it was an awesome month. It was fantastic. I loved it. And there were a lot of books on my TBR that I didn't read, but I did get a lot read. I also did something I normally don't do, and that was some short audio books. I DNF'd one book, and well, technically two. One that I have in my lap, and one was an audio that I did not finish, but I want to finish it. I was kind of on the fence because the gentleman that wrote the book started talking about drugs, and obviously I'm not a proponent for drugs, prescription or otherwise. Okay, so the books. I originally had Crazy Horse on my list, and I started it, but did not get very far into it. I only got to chapter... This is interesting. They don't have chapter numbers, and I didn't even realize that when I started the book. I only got to page 45. I can't even tell you why I didn't pick this up again, other than the other books that I was reading were better. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm just setting it aside for a little while. Another one. This one I do know why I did not finish it. Radium Girls. And I got to chapter 25. The reason why I stopped reading it is because, all of the girls weren't really angry at the company, or angry at the doctors, or angry at the lawyers. Why not? They should have been extremely angry. So there's that. Not getting rid of it. I'm just setting it aside for a little while. Emily Post was also on my original TBR, and I didn't get very far in this book because I got to page 58, because up to page 58, it's about her stupid father. I don't care about her father. The title says Emily Post. This author, Laura Claridge, could have given a cursory background of the girl's childhood and what her father did, because apparently he was a big-wig architect, built apparently a great deal of New York, but I don't care. And I love architecture. At one point, I had even considered becoming an architect until I had a visit to the San Diego State University and sat in a class of architecture, and I went, yeah, you know what, maybe not. I might skip chapters of this book to get to Emily Post, because like I said, I don't care about her father. So that's unfortunate about that book. What else did I have on here that I did not finish? White Gold. White Gold is fantastic. My only critique against it would be that it isn't, the timeline isn't completely linear. It started out kind of in the middle of a story and then backtracked and then jumps back and then jumps back again and then jumps forward and back and forward, and so it's kind of confusing. He does give dates, but still, okay, so we're in the 1600s and then we're in the 1717 and then we jump back to the 1600s. I don't like that. I don't like it one bit. What I am very fascinated with, where I'm at right now, and I don't have that much left, maybe 100 pages. I'm at chapter 9, but page 173, is that Cotton Mather's is mentioned in this, because colonial Americans were captured and used as slaves in Algiers, Tunisia, and two more places, I forget. And Cotton Mather was a jerk. That's all I'm going to say about that. I am going to finish this one probably in December because it is really good. I'm not sure I'm going to keep it, but I'm definitely glad I'm reading it. Okay, so for audiobooks, I listened to And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer. I don't remember who told me about that book or the audio. Might have been the book. Super short audio, sad. It's about a man. It might have actually been the author's. So basically it's a novella. It wasn't meant to be put in print. It was the author kind of just putting his thoughts down and events, and then he got it printed. And it's about the relationship with his father. You know immediately what's going on when you start reading it or listening to the audio. And the relationship between the elderly man and his grandson, so sweet. So sweet. And I loved the ending. It's heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. I do recommend listening to it or getting the, you know what, I'm not an auditory person and I loved the audio, so do what works for you. Another one is, actually I think it's a YA, but it shouldn't have come up on my overdrive because I don't have the YA checked, but this was definitely a YA. It's called Who is Carrie? And it takes place on the East Coast, and Carrie is a slave, and she has to find her past to see what her future is. Yeah, and I don't want to say any more than that. There's an abduction, and it's not scary because it's for children, but it's also kind of silly and funny. I think if I had read it in 5th or 6th grade, I would have loved it. But listening to the audio, there were parts where I literally laughed out loud because of the silliness of this girl, Carrie. So if you enjoy middle grade, like for middle grade March, or just enjoy reading for children or whatever, this is a good book. The other one is The Happiest Man on Earth. And I have a new friend, his name is Eddie. Yeah, okay, so it's very hard to read because it's about a man who was in Auschwitz. The complication of that time period and who you could trust, who you couldn't trust, and even that wasn't black and white. And that one was a little hard, obviously. So that one's for adults, obviously a lot harder to read or to listen to, but definitely worth the read. And I would recommend that book as well. Okay, so for the rest of my books are here. So A Year in Mitford, and I was told that there might be 2 more books going into next year, so for January and February, but I only have January book. I don't have February, and I'm not allowed to buy any more books unless I finish 10 of my own starting in January, so I might not be able to participate. Okay, so this one is In the Company of Others. I listened to the audio while reading along with this one, and the reason why I did that is because there's a lot of Gaelic in here, which funnily enough, they say Irish in here. when I read a book that has a foreign language, I'm extremely anal and I have to look up the pronunciation of those words and have the translation. So if I had done that for every single time, it would have slowed me down, and I didn't want that. So if you need to do the same thing, I recommend it. The guy did a really good job with the accents, the dialect of the Irish people, and this is one of the better ones for this series. I do think that this series has gone on too long, though. I'm ready for it to end, but this one was good. All right, Mightier Than the Sword. This was not at all what I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be about, what's her name? Harriet Beecher Stowe. Brain fart. Harriet Beecher Stowe. But no, it was more about Uncle Tom's Cabin. It was more about the plays that went on. Apparently the longest play in history, about all of the memorabilia for, like, the merchandise. That was huge. And I was disappointed with this one. I'm glad I read it, but had I known it was more about her book and less about her, I would not have bought it. So there's that. This book I had actually snuck in because I had tried to read it in a different month and I didn't. I heard about this book, but I heard about this book from Bill Rutenberg. It's called In the Heart of the Sea by Nathaniel Philbrick. And I've started reading Mayflower 2 years ago, maybe. I know Prometheus has finished it. This was good. This was so good. He goes into so much detail about the whaling industry, ships, the starvation, the traveling, cannibalism, what happens when your body it goes into starvation mode. This is amazing. Get this one. Okay, yeah, there's some things in it that are kind of, but it's still good. I think I snuck this one in too. My Life, My Love, My Legacy by Coretta Scott King. And this isn't by Coretta Scott King. Apparently it's written, or as told to, Reverend Dr. Barbara Reynolds. So there's that. However, this book deserves its own review. Wow. Just wow. Yes. I'm glad I got that one. I think I got this one from, no, I got it from Ollie's. Okay, this one, I don't even remember how I heard about this one. The Devil in Pew Number 7, A True Story by Rebecca Nichols Alonzo. And it's about a pastor, his wife, his little girl, and then eventually his son. And the devil, who not only sits in pew number 7, who isn't even a member of the church, lives across the street and makes their life a living hell. You want to talk about terrorism, living across the street? But it's also about grace and how to forgive people that don't necessarily deserve forgiveness. Okay, I DNF'd this book, and I think I might have already mentioned it. The Girl He Used to Know. Went into way too much detail that I don't even want to know, and I'm very bummed about this book. So I know that the main character, Annika, is autistic, based on her quirks, but I don't know that that word autistic is ever used. I may not know. Had I not already worked with somebody with Asperger's and studied autism, I may not have picked up on that. But if that sort of thing doesn't bother you, if you don't care about TMI, then by all means pick it up. For me, no, I'm DNFing it and I'm unhauling it. Okay, so some other books that I snuck in or wanted to sneak in. I think we've already mentioned The Fall of the House of Dixie that I wanted to read because of Coretta Scott King, but also because I snuck in this book at the last minute, The Cutting Season. Do you see all the orange? Do you see all the orange? Yeah, that's cussing. So not necessary. Attica Locke. Not necessary. There was a surprise that I did not see coming because there was only one clue that you don't know until the reveal, and it's like, oh! So the reveal was good. But I'm unhauling it, and I don't know that I would ever pick up another one of her books based on all the cussing. Because of Harriet Beecher Stowe, I wanted to read this. And hey, y'all, listen up. John said this is a horrible book, so I'm kind of bummed. And now there's a little trepidation about picking it up and reading it. So I picked it up. I took it off my shelf, and I've had it next to me, but I haven't started reading it. Another book that I snuck in. Did I sneak this one in? I think I did. I don't know why I snuck this one in. The American Spirit, Who We Are and What We Stand For by David McCullough. I didn't realize that this is just basically speeches that he has given in different locations. Parts of it were good. I'm not sure this is a person I would trust. I know he's a good author because I've started to read and soft DNF John Adams. And, you know, I have a bunch of his other books. I think they're, where are they? I think they're up there. Anyway, if you like reading speeches, then yes. There was a part in here that I found kind of disturbing. After one of his speeches, a graduate went up to him and told him thank you so much for his speech. She did not know that all of the 13 colonies were on the East Coast. What? Where did she go to school? And this one is also Shelleys Fault, assuming that the, what was the name of that one? And Every Morning Gets Longer, or The Way Home Gets Longer. If that's her fault, this one is definitely her fault. Prometheus has had this book for a very long time. He has his signature in here. It's so cute. So I'm not sure how long he's had this book because he's been writing in cursive since 4, 5? How old were you? 4, 5? If your child is really sensitive, this is not the book to read for them until maybe they're a little older. The good part is that something bad happens and then immediately something good happens. And then something bad happens and then immediately something good happens. But the roller coaster is exhausting. Exhausting. And it is very annoying that as much as horses were used in the time period of this book, how ignorant people were. The people that were using the horses were extremely ignorant, and the care was not where it needed to be. But it is a good children's book. This is understandably a classic, and I don't say that very often. Obviously, this is a keeper because it isn't my book. It's Prometheus's book, but I told him, save this for your children because this is good. So that's been my November, and it has been a ride. It has been a great reading month. Even if my December sucks, this month makes up for the entire year, but I don't expect December to suck. So I think we've already posted December TBR. I'll put a card, and I hope you guys have a great reading month for December. Thank you for visiting. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think of any of the books that I've mentioned, especially if you've read this and what you think I should do with it, because John has kind of got me on the fence about it now. Thank you very much for visiting. Hope you have a great day. Bye.